Well, welcome to your lesson. Today we're working on the very basic parts for beginners of Taekwondo class. If you're an experienced student, you should still take part in this because it's always good to double check ourselves. I know even when I watch myself after 40 years of punching, for instance, I still find ways I can improve my punches right from the most basic techniques up. So let's begin. Emily is here to help me. I'm Master Rennie, and we're going to start on our very first part of our class, which is bowing towards the flag. So we'll both turn and place our hand on the flag. Attention. Bow, and we'll turn towards the camera. Attention, bow. So let's go over the proper ways to bow. When we watch Emily, her hands are closed in fists beside her thighs, and her feet are right together, front and back. So the Korean word for attention is churiet. She's standing perfectly straight, and then when she bows, she bends at her hips only. Her neck doesn't bend. And she bends down low enough that she can't see whoever she's bowing to. So once she can no longer see the camera, she knows she's bowed enough. The Korean word for bow is kinyu. So let's start first with attention. Churiet and bow. Kinyu. Excellent. Next, Emily and I are going to practice chungbi. In Taekwondo class, our left foot always steps out first. So remember that we're a mirror image to you. So later on, we'll go back to back so you can watch us. But my left foot and Emily's left foot are going to step out. My hands come up towards the middle of my chest as I breathe in. My hands close into fists, and they come down towards where our belt is. So let's try that again. We're starting with the bowing. Churiet, kinyu, chungbi. So ready stance, hands come up, breathe in. Hands go into fists, breathe out. Excellent. The first stance that we're going to practice today is called chunbi-sigi. So we're going to step into a horse stance, ju-chun-sigi. And my legs are apart, my knees are bent, and even in this position, my legs are getting stronger because it's going to put some good effort into my thighs. So when we have our feet, they're about 1 meter apart from myself, or just a little bit wider than a shoulder width. And in this position, the first thing we're going to learn is how to make a proper fist. So Emily's going to put both hands out. I'm going to go sideways so you can watch it as well. So she's got her hands out. And we're going to roll our fingers up, and then our thumbs go over top. And if I was to come up closer so that you could see, this is what my hand looks like. So I don't put my thumb inside, and I don't have my thumb sticking out. I have it over top of my middle knuckles of my index and middle finger. So that's a proper fist. Now when we make that proper fist, we also want to make sure that our wrist is strong. So if I hit something that's solid, I'm not going to hurt my wrist. So if my hand was up or down, that would be incorrect. We want to keep our hand so that everything is flush and our wrist is straight. Now Emily's going to next demonstrate a basic punch, and I'll go sideways as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to put one hand out, and our other hand's going to be at our side. And it's upside down at our hip. This is called the chambered position. So we're going to watch in slow motion. Emily and I are going to do front punches. And as one hand pulls back, the other hand goes out. They spin when they meet about halfway. And then my hand pulls back to my side and my other hand completes the punch. So we're going to do that motion, and it'll take us a few tries to get perfect at it. So my hands switch, spin, and into the finished position. So we'll do a few more slow motion. Hana. Switch hands. Duo. Switch hands. Set. So again, focus on that spinning motion where they both spin and into the final position. Now we're going to speed it up. Hana. Duo. Set. Net. Dasa. From here, we're going to add something called a kiap. Kiap is a Korean word for a yell that we make. And that yell stretches our stomach muscles up, and as we release that yell, it helps add power to our technique. So let's watch our kiap. Emily and I are going to kiap at the same time. Ready? Hana! Kiap! Do! Kiap! Set! Kiap! Net! Awesome. So when we make a kiap, everyone's going to have a slightly different kiap. There's no wrong way to do it, but a kiap should be very short. So a really long kiap, that's not going to make us any more powerful. It will just be really noisy. So kiap's very short, and as loud as you can. The louder, the stronger. And I always love to say I'm probably the only person in your day that's told you be louder. So good job on the louder kiaps. Let's watch a few more with kiaps. Emily will do, and I'll count. Hana! Do! Set! Net! Excellent job. when we're all finished our technique, our left foot comes in back to our ready stance. Our hands come back by our belt. And we're going to finish by bowing tree. Kinya. Okay, excellent job. So that we've learned so far, a few different words in Korean. Let's go over them again and we'll demonstrate as well. Churiet. Kinya. Chumbi. Hands up, breathe in, breathe out. In our ready stance, and that's called chumbi. Then into a horse stance, juchumsigi. Punching. Chirigi is the Korean word for punch. Hana, dul, set, net. Now we're going to switch to practicing a high block. And a high block is used if someone is going to attack you over the top of the head. We're going to do a high block. Now let's watch Emily do a few of them. Hana, dul, set. Good. So when we look at her arm, it's not flat, it's at an angle. She does an excellent job of that. And that angle is so if she gets hit, that it'll slide off instead of all of the pressure going onto her arm. Also, she's making sure that she's blocking over top of all of her head, not just half of her head, and this part's not protected. So she's over top of all of it. So excellent job, looks good. Let's do a few more. Hana, dul, set. This one's going to be in slow motion, and watch how Emily crosses her arms. And in Taekwondo, you'll learn that every single hand technique isn't a one-handed technique. Everything takes two hands, and that's because of something called a counter-reaction force. So if I pull all my energy as fast as I can back this way, the energy doesn't just stop there. It actually pushes out on the other side and makes my punches even stronger. Same thing with the block. We cross. One hand's going to do the block as the other hand pulls back to our side. And that counter reaction is a physics law that helps make martial arts stronger. So a one-arm block, not nearly as strong as two arms involved with the counter reaction. So watch her. She has an excellent job of performing her counter reactions. Hana, dul, set, net, dasu. One more, kill. Excellent. And when we're finished, we're going to come back to our ready stance. Come on. Triet. Kinya. Very good. So far we've covered how to bow, a ready stance, our horse stance, and we've also worked on punching and high block. Next, we're going to practice some of our different stances that we'll use in Taekwondo class, depending on your belt level. And so Emily and I are both going to turn and face this way, and we're going to demonstrate with our hands on our hips, so follow along. And we're both going to put our left foot in front in a high stance. Now, high stance, it's very short. It looks like we're walking, just about the same distance as if you're walking down the street slowly. So we're going to take some steps. Hana, dul, set, net. Now turning around is kind of fun. What we're going to do is take our front foot and cross over the path of our back foot. We're going to spin and face the other way. And then we're going to continue walking. Hana, dul, set, net. And then again, our front foot crosses over the path of our back foot. And we spin and face the other way. So this is called high stance or walking stance. Now we're also going to practice another. Let's practice that one a few times. Hana, dul, set, net, turn back. Hana, dul, set, net, turn back. Now this time as we're walking, we're going to add in our high block that we just practiced. So if my left leg's in front, I'm going to use my left arm for my high block. Stepping forward. Hana, dul. Notice how we both cross our arms each time. Set, net, dasu. Excellent. So this time our front foot crosses over our back foot. As we turn around, we cross our arms, knowing our left foot's in front, our left arm's going to be ready for high block. Hana, dul, set, kia. Come back. And back to our ready stance. Come on. Excellent job. We're going to learn another block, so we know how to protect the top part of our head. If someone was going to hit us across the shoulder or across the face, my arm's coming across, we're going to practice a middle block. Excellent job, Emily. So on our middle block, we cross both arms. Our blocking arm is on the outside. If you put it on the inside, not a big mistake, but we want on the outside preferably. And from here, my arm comes out to a position that's straight up and down, and my knuckles are about nose height. My other hand comes back to my side. So let's repeat that. Cross our arms. One hand comes out as the other hand comes back to your side. So practice this on your own on how we can do this in slow motion so that both hands finish their motion at the exact same time. So if you can see how my hand starts with my palm facing my face and it finishes with my palm facing away from my face. That spin helps us get speed, and the speed helps us have a stronger block. Okay, let's practice on that full speed. Hana, dual, set, net, dasit, yasit, yigab, yaldula, get! And when we're finished, we're going to come back to our ready stance. Come on. Triet. Kinya. Next, we're going to learn another stance. We're both going to be facing this way. And we're going to practice stepping forward in a low stance. So we'll put our left foot forward first. So in our low stance, it's longer than our high stance. Our front knee is bent, and my back leg is straight. Hands on my hips while we're practicing walking. Hana. Dual. Set, net, and turning back is the same. Front foot crosses over, pivoting around, and now my front knee is bent, my back leg is straight. Hana, dual, set, net, and turn back. While we're doing that walk, I want you to practice to see if you can take each step with no noise. So you've got such good self-control and you're gently walking that you can't hear your step. Hana, dual, set, net. Cross your front foot over, turn back. Hana, dual, set, net. Cross your front foot over, turn back. Excellent. Now we're going to practice this low stance, but we're going to do it at the same time as doing our middle block. So remember, we cross our arms. One hand comes out to block as the other hand comes back to your side. Stepping forward. Hana. Dual. Set. Net. And turning back, front foot crosses over. As you do your spin, we are already getting ourselves ready for the middle block. Hana. Dual. Set. Kia! Cross your front foot over, turn back. Come on. Relax. Next, we're going to practice the third of our main blocks. So we have lots of other blocks. We have knife hand blocks. We have inverted arm blocks. We've got two arm blocks. But we have three basic ones. The high and the middle that we've already learned. So that protects the top of our body, the middle of our body, and now we're going to protect our groin and our stomach with a low block. So in a low block, my hand starts up by my chin. It goes down, and again for that counter reaction, my other hand pulls back. Then this arm stays, my other hand comes up, and pull back. So a way that I teach our youngest children is imagine you've got mosquitoes all down your arm, just wipe all those mosquitoes off. Switch arms, wipe all the mosquitoes off. Okay, we're going to jump into our side, but let's do all the moves. You do them with us. Triet, Kinya, Chumbi, Juchunski. So we're going to lift our left arm up. We're going to put our right arm out for the counter reaction. Blocking and down. Now when we do this block, you'll see my elbow's a little bit bent, and that's to make sure that if my elbow got kicked, that it's got a little bit of room to snap out so it doesn't break my elbow. So it gives a little bit of resistance. So let's practice it in slow motion. Hana. Dual. Set. Net. Dasit. Yasit. Yigam. Yaldo, Eho, Excellent, let's go to full speed. Hana, dul, set, net, dasut, yasut, igab, kia. Back to our ready stance when we're finished, and relax. I'm going to grab a target, and this is a drill that you can practice at home. And if you've got a partner like your parents, this would be awesome. So what we're going to do is she's going to hop into a horse stance facing me. And she doesn't know which way I'm going to attack her. I'm going to go slow, and I'm going to give her lots of time, so I'm foreshadowing the technique. And that'll give her time to do a proper block. Now in real life, you're not going to have that opportunity, and we'll practice a drill for that secondly. So first off, just practicing our high blocks. Bring the target up and back, strong. Then we're going to switch to middle blocks. Now if you don't have a target, you can use a pillow or something else that you can find that is a little bit soft. Then we can switch to low blocks. Now we've got that drill looking sharp. We're going to try to speed it up, and we're going to let Emily work on her reaction time. So I'm going to make sure I really telegraph the technique. So I'm not going to go too fast, because you're never going to be in a situation where somebody's really close to you doing all kinds of different kicks and stuff. They're going to have some distance. So I'm going to replicate that. So she doesn't know what technique I'm going to do, but I'm going to give her lots of time to figure out what's going to be the right technique. So a couple of pointers for you when you practice this drill with your family. One thing is, don't close your eyes. Sometimes you're going to get hit and you'll make the wrong call. You won't know what it is, or maybe the person swinging it, maybe they come at an angle and you're not sure what to do. Don't close your eyes. Once you can't see what's going to happen, you're going to be in big trouble. So eyes stay open all the time. The other thing is, sometimes maybe we'll make a mistake on our block and we'll modify it. Well, if it keeps our body safe, it doesn't matter how you did it, it was a good block. So if you use the wrong arm, or your striking technique, your hand isn't in the right place, maybe it's backwards, if it stops the technique that's attacking us, that was a good block, so we can practice that. Next, we're going to practice another stance. So let's go over the stances we've learned so far. Triad, Kinya, Chumbi, Juchun Sigi. We've also learned our walking stance, so we're going to go forward this time. So both knees are straight. Turn back. Up. Set. Net. Turn back. Excellent. And from here, our low stance. Front knee is bent, walking forward. Up. Dual. Set. Well, good point. Let's back up one step, Emily. So a good point is, what is the width of both of those? It's the same, and it's a shoulder width. So you should be walking, just like you're walking down the street, you know, whatever width that your legs are, how far your feet are apart, that's how much they should be in this stance. Okay, so now we're going to learn another stance, and this one's called our kicking stance, or our fighting stance. And we're going to use this one in future classes, but we will do one drill with this as well. So I'm going to put one foot in front. I'm going to turn my body sideways. You can imagine if I was having a fighting match with Emily or sparring with her, I don't want to give her my whole body. So if you were my partner, you that's watching it right now, I don't want to give you all this target. So I'm going to turn sideways. And when we're sideways, we're going to take our front hand and we're going to put it up so the palm is facing me right now. So put your hand up, palm facing me, and then put it into a fist. My other hand comes to where we call this the solar plex. If you have like a low-cut t-shirt, this would be right where the V of your shirt is. Or if you have a Taekwondo uniform, it's right where the patch is that says Taekwondo. So our hands are in this position. Now in our fighting stance, we're ready to go. We've got most of the weight on our back foot, so if someone kicks our front foot, we can lift it up quickly. From here, I could punch, I could backhand punch, I could block and punch, or I could kick. Kicking will be on another lesson. But our kicking stance or our fighting stance is important that we have it so it looks in like an excellent stance. So let's try this. We're going to go to ready stance Chumbi. We're going to put one foot back We're going to put both hands up and we're going to key up. Kicking stance. Back to our ready stance. Let's try it again. Kicking stance. Nice job. Here's the drill that we're going to practice at home right now, and this is good for our legs, good for our cardio, but also good for developing a great kicking stance. So we're going to be bouncing. Emily's bouncing right now in her kicking stance. So her feet come just a little bit off the floor. So if you're getting really tired because you're jumping super high, show us the wrong way, Emily. Really high jumps. Okay, if you're jumping like that, you're going to use up all your energy. So don't do that. So we want just bouncing, just a little bounces. Looking good. And now we're going to, the next part of our drill, we're going to switch feet on each count. Remember, I'm speaking in Korean, so you can copy along at home, learn the Korean words at the same time as getting a good exercise. 하나, 둘, 셋, 넷, 다섯, 여섯, 일곱. So I put a double in there. 하나, 둘, 셋, 넷. Triple. Good job, Emily. 다섯. Yasuk. Excellent. Take a break. So let's watch this last drill that we're going to leave you with, and she's going to be in her kicking stance. So she's going to face me. Let's do all the moves. Straight. Kinya. Chumbi. Remember when we step in our kicking stance, we're going to key up. Kicking stance. Key up. She's bouncing. So here's the drill. I'm going to hit her the same way we did in the previous drill, but she's going to switch feet first. Hana! She switches feet and blocks, and bounces again. Hands go back to where they were. Switch feet. And that time I tried to trick her with middle block, but it didn't work. Switch feet. Set. Net. Dawson. Yasit. Good job. So when you're practicing this at home, if you want to do it after the video is finished, you're bouncing on each count. You're going to switch feet. And if your partner doesn't speak Korean, then they can count in English, of course. But let's go over all the numbers, and that'll be the final part of today's lesson. So, do them with me. I'm going to use my fingers as I count each one. Ready? Hana, dual, set, net, dasut, yasut, igop, yaldal, ahop, yo. Okay? And then if we say them a little faster, the count for 5 and 6, it can be dasut, yasut, if we're counting slowly. But in our Korean counting, if we're saying it fast, we shorten it to just das and yas. So I'll count this time, and then you get to go after me. Hana, dual, set, net, das, yas, igop, yaldul, ahop, yo. Emily, your turn.
Hana, dual, set, net, dasit, yasit, igop, yaldul, ahop, yo.
Awesome job, Emily. So that's it for today. Let's quickly review the basics that we learned. So do them with us. Triet, Kinya, Chumbi, Juchumsigi. We'll practice a few punches. Hana, dul, set, net. A few high blocks. Hana, dul, set, net. Some middle blocks. Hana, dul, set, net. Some low blocks. Hana, dul, set, net. And we're going to do a few more punches. We're going to key up on each one. Hana, dual, set, net. Awesome job. We're back to our ready stance. We practice walking stance, or our high stance. Dual, set, net. Cross your front foot over, turn back. Hana, dual, set, net. Cross your front foot over, turn back. And switch this into low stance. Hana, dual, set. And cross our front foot over. Give it back. Hana, dual, set, net. Turn back. So we're going to finish back to our ready stance. And one last thing was our kicking stance. So our feet are back. We turn our body sideways. So when we're in this position, how your feet are set up will be slightly different than mine or Emily's. So whatever you can get yourself comfortable in, and your body's sideways, your front arm is up, and your other hand comes in. So from here in our kicking stance, bouncing, go ahead. And in future classes, we'll continue to work on this. Come on. And keep on working on our footwork. You guys have did great today if you've been able to keep up. The beauty of Taekwondo is whenever you get to another class, we repeat and repeat and repeat. So even if myself as a 7th degree black belt, I still work on the low blocks, the middle blocks, and the high blocks, just like we demonstrated today. And we continue to grow and make the techniques harder as we go. So, good job. We'll finish by bowing out. Face each other. Trick. Kenya. Okay, good job, guys. We'll look forward to seeing you on our next episode.